Hey guys, I just got done filming this everyday makeup tutorial. If you want to see how I achieved it, go ahead and keep watching. I list a few of my products in the video that I use for this, and this is kind of what I do every day, just different colors, variations. If you have any questions, leave me some comments and keep watching. Thanks.
Okay guys, so we are going to start off today with the Josie Maran Whipped Argan Oil Face Butter. I really like this moisturizer. My skin is super dry, and I just find that this one is really good for my skin. I sometimes use the argan milk with it too, especially in the wintertime when my face gets really dry. Summertime, my skin has been pretty good with the humidity. My hair, as you can see, has not, but you know, you win some battles, you lose some. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with my foundation using the Maybelline Fit Me Matte Poreless Foundation. I really like this foundation. It's a good kind of lightweight. I don't feel like it's super heavy on my skin. And maybe because I use a damp beauty blender to apply it, I'm not getting as full of a coverage. It's a good coverage, but nothing too heavy, too cakey, or like weighed down or anything like that. It definitely, once again, feels good on my skin, but if you have your favorite foundation, go ahead and use that. And if you guys do notice, I do spend a lot of time buffing in my foundation because I don't want to see any harsh lines or uneven spots, that kind of thing. So I really take my time blending in the foundation, making sure it looks like my skin and not like it's sitting on top of my skin. Okay, and now that we are done with foundation, I'm going to move into my concealer, and I am using the NARS Creamy Radiance Concealer, and I have fallen in love with this concealer. I feel like it's such a good coverage. It doesn't shift around on my skin like most concealers do that are kind of oily, like way too slip and slidey. I don't like that at all. And I get kind of darker circles, like the hollows in my under my eyes, and then I get a little bit darker around my mouth, so I'm just going to kind of conceal that. And then once I do that, I'm going to blend it out with my beauty blender, and then we'll go into setting. One of the other things I really noticed about this concealer is that it doesn't start to kind of shift and crack when you put it on. I find that it stays in place even before you have to set it down with powder. It's weird to explain, but it doesn't crease with the little wrinkles under your eyes right away. Okay, so now that I have made sure that I am blended into next week, I'm going to go ahead and set my concealer with the Makeup Forever matte powder. And I love this because it comes in a stackable case. I did not know this until recently. I can't believe I was totally lost in that world, and it has changed my life with my clients and everything. So I am going to go ahead and make sure that there's no creases in my concealer before I set. This is really important because then it gives you that kind of flawless finish and you don't have that cracky mummy look under your eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and keep looking up while I have press that out with my beauty blender and then set with a small brush. And this is a fluffier blending brush. This is the Morphe 441 brush. I probably have about 5 of these for just general purpose, like eyeshadow setting in like tight places. It's just a really good brush to have. So I'm also going to set the area around my mouth because those smile lines do tend to kind of crease over time wearing your makeup. So that is an area in addition to under your eyes to set. And I'm a fan of more of a dewy look, so I don't really set all over my face. I just set in those areas that I know are prone to creasing. So under the eye, right near the mouth, and sometimes I'll even do on the side of the nose just to be on the safe side if I'm, wearing my makeup for a really long day. But the dewier, honestly, the better because my skin is dry. And speaking of dew, I am using the Milk Makeup Highlighter in the color Lit. I love this highlighter. It's a cream highlighter, so I'm going to be applying it with my finger and just kind of patting it into my skin. You can apply it straight to the face, but I find that it comes out a little more streaky, whereas this, it's like pressing it into the skin, almost like you had that glow. I mean, look at that. And I've used powdered highlighters. I use the Anastasia Beverly Hills highlighter palettes. I love those. To get kind of more that wet look, just spray it with a setting spray. I really like the sprays from Mario Badescu. Those give more of like a hydrating look, or like a Fix Plus spray to mix with your highlighter just to give you that dewy look so it doesn't look super powdery when you put it on the skin. Okay, so now that we are done with the foundation, we're going to move into eyeshadow. And ironically enough, for having dry skin, I get really oily eyelids. So this is my best friend when it comes to eyeshadow application, and it is the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion in the shade Eden. They have a few different shades, some shimmery. This is more of a matte. And I like it because my eyelids do get so oily. It lays down a really nice base for me to do my eyeshadow work on. And I'm going to buff that out with my finger because if you don't blend it out accordingly, it does kind of leave a harsh line. So you want to make sure that that is all the way blended out so that way you don't have any like streak marks or stop marks with your eyeshadow. And I know a lot of people do use concealer for their eyeshadow base. If that works for you, then that is great. For me, my eyelids are way too oily to do that, so it would move around all over the place and my smoky eye would be disintegrated. So I'm going to stick with my Urban Decay Primer Potion. And this stuff, I'm telling you, I went down a water slide and my makeup did not move. I would not recommend doing that, but just in case, it's not going to move. Okay, now we're moving into eyeshadow, and I am picking up my Morphe M532 brush, and I am using the brand new Morphe Jaclyn Hill Bling Boss palette from her Vault collection. And the first shade that I am buffing out into my crease is the shade Hush Hush from the palette, and I have to say I really love this palette. I didn't buy the whole Vault, but I just bought Bling Boss and then Ring the Alarm, and so far I like both of them. And the look I'm going for today, and this is something I kind of do every day, I tend to switch it up with like different colors, but the application is still the same. It's more of a spotlight eye, so I'm going to go a little bit darker in the outer V and the inner V of my eye, so the corners like right where it starts to go towards your nose and then out on the outside of the eye, and then more of a shimmer on the center of the lid, so it kind of just gives you that spotlight effect. So the next brush that I am going to be picking up is my M433 brush from Morphe, and this is kind of a smaller blending brush, but it fits really well into the crease, and I'm using the color Mystic from the same palette. It's kind of a darker maroon color, and I'm going to go ahead and put that slightly in the crease, a little bit closer to the outer V, and then I'm going to put it on to the other side in the inner V as well, and just start blending that out as I go. You want to go lighter handed and then go a little bit heavier handed, so that way you're not putting all the color right into one spot. So remember, start off light and then go for it. Don't go for it all at once. And you will see me periodically in this eyeshadow application kind of switch between the brush that I'm using now, which is the M433 brush, and my M532, which was the first eyeshadow brush I was using. I kind of like to switch between them just because it helps the blending aspect of the eyeshadow application go smoother. If you keep blending with the same brush that has the pigment on, you're just going to put more pigment on. So I'm using kind of the first blending brush to, I guess, buff out and take a little bit of that pigment away, just so it gives that smoother transition. And as you can see, I'm switching back over to the M532 brush to buff out that maroon shade that I just put down. And don't be afraid to switch between brushes. It's totally fine. Don't think, oh my gosh, I'm using like 8 million different brushes. If you use one, that's fine. If you use 5, that's fine. I'm just giving you my outlook on it. So now I'm going to go in with my spotlight color, and that is the shade Bling Bling. Now I find with the shimmers in this palette, it's honestly better to apply it with your finger because it lays down. I'm going to show you the pigment load with just the brush. It's not a lot. And then I'm going to go back with my finger and apply it because it just lays down a lot nicer, and you can really see that shimmer, and it really gives you that spotlight in the middle. Now, if you do prefer using a brush, go ahead and wet your brush first before you dip it in the shimmer color because it's going to give you kind of that same effect as putting it on your finger. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, oh my god, don't you stab yourself in the eye with those nails. No, I've had them for 5 years. I know what I'm doing. Don't worry, I'm not in pain. And now I'm going to go in and deepen my crease a little bit with my shade Rockstar. And this is just an even kind of more reddish maroon color, and I am going back in with that with my M433 brush and just kind of deepening out the crease. Now, if you didn't want to make it as dark as I'm making it right now, you don't have to. This is just my everyday look. I like a little bit more of a dramatic look for my everyday look. Some people think this would be like a going out look, but this is what I do. Okay, and now that we're done with the eyes, I'm going to go in and fill in my eyebrows. This is just an angled brush with like a spoolie on the end of it from Morphe that I picked up at one of the hair shows. And Morphe, honestly, I really like their brushes in general. And I'm going to go ahead and fill in these eyebrows that poor me overplucked them and overwaxed them in middle school, and I know that there are tons of people who can relate to that. So I'm just filling these in, and I really do like little hair-like strokes. I don't like to draw like a super thick line. Less is more, people. Less is more. And another good rule of thumb when filling in your eyebrows, don't try and like overextend your eyebrows. Even if they are really thin, just enhance them a little bit. You never want it to look over the top so then you look fake. I really just extend mine out just a tiny bit and then fill in where I have holes. Like I have kind of a hole in my left eyebrow, so I tend to fill that one in just a little bit more. And I know some people use a brow pencil. I've used brow pencils. I've used them on my clients. I've used them on myself. I like them. I have really gotten down to filling them in with like a brush and powder quickly. So I like that the best. I don't have to spend a lot of time and fool around with it. And it just makes it really quick and easy. Okay, so now that I'm done with that, I'm going to go into my contour. Some people like to do cream contour like before when they do their concealer and everything, but I like powder. I am using the NARS bronzer in the shade Casino. I have used this one for a long time. I really like it, and I am using the Morphe R10 brush This is a good contour brush, and I'm actually lining up my bronzer palette with my cheekbone so that way I can get a little bit of a sharper line. And don't worry guys, I'm not going to leave it like this. I'm going to show you how to blend it out, but I find that it really helps me find that cheekbone and kind of gives me those cheekbones that I want and don't have. Okay, and then I am going to go ahead and contour my forehead, and I really like that kind of almost sunburnt, sun-kissed forehead look, so that's why I take my bronzer right along the sides of my forehead and blend it into my hairline. You never just want to leave it on the skin. Always blend it into the hairline, because if you got a sunburn naturally, it would go a little bit into your hairline. And then I'm going to chisel out my jaw too, so I have one chin instead of three, and this can be tricky if you don't blend it out well enough, but I'm going to go back in after I've laid everything down and then blend it out. Another rule of thumb with picking your bronzer shade is don't do anything shimmery. You want something that's more matte, and if your undertone with your skin is not as peachy or like orangey as mine, don't go for a bronzer that's peachy or orangey. Go for one that's more of like a matte brown, because you don't want it to look fake and kind of, you know, fake tan looking. So I'm just using a clean brush to kind of buff this out. This brush actually doesn't have a number on it. I got it in like a set of brushes from Morphe from a class that I took, but any kind of like fluffy buffer brush will do the trick. So moving on to eyeliner, I'm actually not going to do top eyeliner, but I'm going to do it in the waterline. And this is the 24/7 waterline from Urban Decay in the shade Legend. It is a crayon eye pencil, but it is waterproof and it's not going to move out of that waterline for you. And I really like it. It goes on super easy. I'm not a big flincher, so I never have trouble putting eyeliner in my waterline. Some people do. If you do, then just go a little bit underneath your waterline. So I'm not going to be wearing lashes in this video. I actually just got my lashes permed. My lashes are super long, but they're really straight, and I'm using the L'Oreal Voluminous mascara. This is a fan favorite by a lot of people, but I will in the future, if you guys want to see some videos with lashes, like different lashes, that kind of thing, we can do that. And this is such a good mascara, and it's super cheap too. Okay guys, and last but not least, I am going to finish off with my lips, and for this I am just using a simple gloss. It's from NYX, their butter gloss in the shade Tiramisu. Nothing super fancy, it's just like a light pink gloss. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions or anything, or want to see more videos from me, leave me some comments, DM me, tell me what you think. Thank you so much for watching. This is my first video, so yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed.